Hello, friends and listeners from all across the globe. Thank you so much for tuning back in to another episode of The Yogi Show. Here we are, my friends, episode number 5. Yogi, Bryan, and I had the absolute pleasure of sitting down and connecting with globally recognized, amazingly talented music producer and DJ, Mr. DJ Taz Rashid. If you've ever been to a yoga class, I'm sure that your ears have heard his music before on the teacher's playlist. He has a mission in life to awaken people with music and help them live more authentic lives. This conversation was super fun. I hope you enjoy it. It's definitely going to add a little bit of value to your life, especially if you're a teacher. He deep dives into yoga, playlists, creating unique experiences and sound experiences in this episode. It's a little bit special too because him and Momentology have a collaboration going down on a new album called Seeker, and we are sprinkling in some tidbits and tracks and samples of the music throughout the episode. So it'll be unique here on episode number 5. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for all of your support, and we'll see you on the other side. Enjoy, my friends. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. DJ Taz Rashid. Welcome to the Yogi Show.
Yo, it's good to be here, guys. Finally.
Dude, right? We are so grateful to have you on the show, man. Seriously. Like, this is, I feel like a fanboy or fangirl right now.
Could be both,
kind of thing.
Right?
I do. I feel the same way.
Let's not judge our inner fanboy girl, you know?
No, man. It's all good, man. What's up, Bryan? How you doing today, man?
Pretty good.
Yeah. How was your journey to the Yogi Show today? How was it?
So I get on, and I have some Dre headphones. They have batteries because I have to plug into my iMac for this thing, and no batteries. Go upstairs, and I have one AAA battery. I need 2. I have 1. And I'm like, running around the house.
You're taking it out of the remote controls, Bryan. That's like the classic dude move. Like, I'll just take it out of these remote controls that I never use. I've got 15 of them for every fucking
Exactly.
thing.
And all the remotes have, double A's? I'm like, where are the AAA batteries at? But I found some headphones. Running around. I'm sweating. Haven't done this much cardio in weeks.
Dude, finding batteries is my cardio.
Right?
That could be an online course.
Oh, my God. Oh my gosh, man. So much fun, dude. So much fun. Taz, I can't thank you enough for blocking the time to connect with us, man. Honestly, though, like, your music has inspired me so much over the years as a yoga teacher. I know Bryan, too, for sure, on the journey. So to have you on the show today is super amazing. And, I'd like to kick it off with, I know how I started, how our journey, we just did an episode recently about the journey, how we got to yoga and whatnot, but how did you get into this music thing, man? How did this start for you? As a, child, was it a child thing? You were always a musician?
I was a
how
baby
did this go,
when
man?
I started playing the keyboard. No, maybe, I come from a country called Bangladesh. If you're not familiar, it's kind of like we're India, but we're right next door. We're like neighbors, and it's a country with 160 million people, country size of Iowa. It's put the dick down, stop making babies. It's ridiculous. We're out of control. It's just oh my God, there's cum everywhere and there's kids everywhere. It's nuts. Anyway, so I grew up in a
comes out.
really busy country. But there's music all over, because we're very influenced by India. So I grew up with a harmonium next to me literally all the time. I don't know if you know that. It looks like a keyboard. It's actually a British instrument, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
And the British brought it to India during the colonization time. But Indians took it and we just mastered it. Now it's an Indian instrument, but it's really a British instrument. A lot of people don't know. Anyways, so I grew up with that around me. My grandfather, I heard him singing, playing. My dad, my whole family is they're all doctors and engineers, but secretly they're all ninja musicians and artists, which is epic because I was lucky to have that around me since birth. So I started playing keyboard 4th grade. I had Casio keyboard, and my big thing was figuring out melodies with one hand. So I figured out I remember I just came to America. I figured out the Beverly Hills Cop theme song. Bum, 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 bum. You guys remember that?
Yes.
Axel Foley shit? Yeah.
Of course.
Anyways, so I figured that out, and I felt like a fucking hero. I was playing that for my parents. I'm like, listen to this. I figured out the notes, and they were like, that's kind of cool, actually. So I'd figure out like Beethoven's Für Elise. Whatever I heard, I would try to emulate and figure out. So 5th grade, I started playing piano, and I went to like classical music training and all that kind of stuff. Playing guitar, I was in bands. But what happened was, let's make the yoga connection. So as I grew up, my whole thing was like, I grew up with that same mentality that I had to be a doctor or a business person or engineer. That's like the brown mentality. If you come from that part of the world, it's like the Asian sensation. It's like you got both options. You can be a doctor. Yeah, it could be a doctor or an engineer. Like, what's it gonna be, man? There's so many cool things you can do with your life. And I was like, but interestingly enough, my dad, he was a doctor, and so was my mom. My dad was like, you know what? You should do something else. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you should probably do something, because he's like a secret artist and a musician his whole life. So he actually inspired me to follow dreams. And like we were in I was doing hardcore art because I was an artist as well. And I was doing a lot of painting and color pencils and playing music and all that. So I still went to school for business, marketing, organizational leadership, entrepreneurship. And thank fucking God I did, because now I'm using all that for my music career.
Awesome.
Seriously, that is
right?
Those are elements that most musicians don't even understand, or it's not in their backbone. But it is the ultimate crucial to be in the music business. You guys hear that second word? It's business, not just music. It's music business,
man.
So you have to understand the business.
I know, man.
And what happened was 2008. I graduated 2006. I did everything. I worked in the hotel industry, hired hotels. I sold real estate. I got my license. I sold fucking copier machines. You guys know those like giant like $6,000 like Canon copier? I sold those for a year in Chicago. Talk about a brutal like outside sales job.
Grind.
But I don't take any of that shit back, because I learned so much from those kinds of jobs. That
definitely,
of course, man, the hustle.
Exactly. You learn the hustle, and then you learn the hustle for your own life. So around 2008, 9, I found things like Kirtan, chanting, mantras. And that's when I started doing the self-reflection, like the party boy days. I was like, now I consider myself the bro gone conscious. Back then I was like bro unconscious, because I was just like I was just like partying and looking for the next girl, or like the next party or next gig, it was just like a really, I don't know, man. It's the hazy Matrix life. You guys know the Matrix? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Of course,
the 9 to
man.
5, like the dream hustle of like no dream. It's like the fake false dream. And so that was my reality though. So I went from that, realized that false dream wasn't what I needed to do. So I started, my wife actually, she was my girlfriend at the time, wife now, she connected me to some of her friends, because she was big time on a spiritual path when we met, and I was just like looking for that doorway. I was trying to tap out of the matrix. I was just like, plug me out so I can really plug in. Plug out to plug in kind of thing. And so we had that bond from the get go. Our conversations was Deepak Chopra, Course in Miracles, The Secret. Deep stuff. And so I was really lucky to have her in my life. And so I started like getting into more like esoteric wisdom, but with that came the music, and I found that whole world of like yoga music and world music and beats, and then realized how big music is a part of the yoga scene. Around 2012, like I left that corporate world. It was like I went to India. And it was like that scene out of the Matrix, when I bring it feels like I'm bringing up Matrix a lot, but it's. If you've seen that movie, great. You know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, go watch that. It's gonna.
No, I love that movie.
It's old, but it's cool. But there's a scene in there where there's a guy named Morpheus. He's kind of like this, seer kind of dude. He presents Neo, who's supposed to be like the dude, and he's like, you have two options. You can take the red pill, and you can take the blue pill and just go back to your world, and you'll never remember any of this happened. Or you take the red pill and you go deeper. You go into the unknown, the rabbit hole, as he called it. I took the fucking red pill hardcore in 2012.
Dude, double dose.
Can you make a song?
I think a
called
lot
The
of
Red
people
Pill?
on this call right now knows about the red pill, right? Like we're all red pill takers.
Oh yeah.
So that's what the journey started.
sure.
I started DJing, teaching myself how to do that, recording music, playing. I played like 8-9 instruments. So it was just like, so yeah, that's kind of like the journey into it. I've done it all. I've done all the corporate gigs type things. I've seen it, been around those people, and I was just like, this is not for me. This is not fulfilling. I need the red pill.
No, I need the red pill. It's like, in that moment, it's like you have this realization of like, this isn't like what I envisioned my life to be like day to day, and that's not how I want to be day to day. I want to follow my dreams, pursue my passions. And I think a lot of the listeners out there are exactly like double dose of the red pill. And like, let's just figure it out and go down this like conscious spiritual path and find a deeper meaning to life outside of like what somebody told us we should or should not do back in the day. You know what I mean? Like the unknowing,
Yo, what's up? This is Momentology, and this is a new track by Taz and I called Palo Santo. It's off of our new album called Seeker, out August 27th, 2019.
Yeah, Bryan, I'm with you on the red pill, man. Taz, we need a song called
the Red Pill.
Let's do it.
Just a deep down the rabbit hole meditation. Oh, man.
Yeah. Good stuff, guys.
Let's make it happen. Are you practicing like daily? Are you doing like a mindfulness based practice, yoga, meditation? Are
Not
you into
at all.
that stuff?
I don't touch that shit. No, I'm just kidding. It's all a fucking show, guys. No. So I'll tell you my background with that. So when I first got into this stuff, it was all about the meditation. Before I even realized what meditation was, I discovered binaural beats, which is basically you use headphones, it's music to help your brain get into deeper states of meditation and focus from alpha, theta, delta, gamma. That's another conversation. But basically, it's music created to help you meditate better or focus. I discovered this shit when I was still in the corporate world because I had a client, which was a Transitions bookstore in Chicago, and they're shut down, but like it was like a metaphysical bookstore. So they had these like binaural beats guided meditation. I did not know what it was, but this guy told me that he's like, if you listen to this stuff, it's called positive thinking, fall asleep with it, meditate with it, you're going to start thinking more positively. You're going to start bringing more abundance in your life. So that was just like, dude, I was all in sales. I was like, if that stuff works, I'm going to do it. But what I didn't realize that this stuff is so powerful, it was starting to reprogram my subconsciousness. And that's what's running the show, bro. That's what's running the show. That's the bottom of the iceberg shit that you don't see, all the programming from childhood. You know what I mean?
Bro, yes.
Nice.
Dude, I've been like, how you were talking about theta, alpha, delta, and, all those
Beta,
states. I've been deep down the rabbit hole on that stuff. So
oh, good,
we'll have
man.
to touch on that.
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I have a whole side project that I'm building right now called Binaural Medicine, and I've been playing it at all my events. These are like deep, like yoga nidra and like... music great for yoga nidra, deep meditation, shavasana, but I'm creating both for binaural beats and isochronic beats. And isochronic, not to get too geeked out here, but like isochronic is trying to emulate what a binaural beat does with the headphones, but you can play it out of regular speakers. Okay. So anyways, I discovered this stuff and it started just rocking my world. I'm not kidding, guys. I didn't know what mindfulness was. I didn't know about Yogi Bhajan or, like gurus and teachers.
Yeah.
I was meditating on the regular. Like I would do deep dive meditations, like deep sleep delta wave meditation, and then I'd go party. Like I was just like, it was part of my life because like it was a tool. I didn't realize it was like, oh, I'm so spiritual. I'm waking, I'm awakening. I didn't know about all that. I was just like trying to live a better life. You know what I mean? And I didn't have a community around me. It was like all my friends were like bros and hoes. You know what I mean? It was just like party time world. But I had mixed in this meditation.
Yeah, party time, man. Excellent.
So I started with meditation. I was obsessed with it. I'm still obsessed with all that stuff. I create that music now, offer it to people all over. But then the yoga started with my wife. Like when she was the yogi, and we'd go to yoga festivals, and we'd go to yoga festivals, and I'd go listen to the music, and she'd be doing the yoga, and I'd be like, nah. But then I slowly started getting into the yoga. And now I have a practice. I love hot yoga, vinyasa, power flow. Yeah, I love to sweat. Like I love to make music all day and then just go sweat that shit out.
Yeah.
Stress from traveling.
Yeah.
I'm doing yoga to de-stress, chill the fuck out, and make myself happier, and so I can be kinder to my family and everyone around me. Because we can all be assholes.
Dude,
we can all be assholes. Hello.
Right.
I know I can be an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes
Yeah,
out.
you should
Where
see
do
me
you
before this without batteries, man.
Yeah, you should have heard Bryan on the phone before we got you
Dropped
on
a
here,
couple
man.
F-bombs.
No batteries. Taz, where do you practice? So you live in Chicago.
In Chicago.
Where do you practice?
Primarily, there's a couple places.
Where's the hot yoga place?
Well, I practice in a couple of places. I practice sometimes online with the Wanderlust TV app, which I score all the music for. Like I make music for them, so I have access to all these amazing classes with like, Chelsea Chorus and
man.
Skylar Grant and so on. So I do a lot of that online. But when I practice, so I've done like a lot of different work for groups like Lifetime Fitness, Core Power Yoga, and they just give me memberships.
Awesome.
So I just practice with my local Core Power, and and for me, I love to stay with the modern trends. I love to see what the current, commercial yoga people are doing, just to see what they're up to. And I really enjoy it, and that to me hits the spot. And to me, Core Power is like Starbucks in the sense where like I know exactly what I'm gonna get. I know what the class is. It's like I know what the latte is gonna taste like, and it's the same almost everywhere. And there's great teachers there. There's not so good ones. There's teachers with amazing playlists. There's ones that suck. It's all good. I go there with as a child, and I just study what they're doing, and I'm just like, that's really cool. Or like I would never do that in a class. So I'm like studying while I'm practicing. I love it.
Yep.
Love that. When you took the red pill, did you start wearing those badass shirts that you wear all the time? Like, when did that start, man?
When I took the red pill, I was wearing a lot more. I was more into the Kirtan scene at the time. I was more like Hare Krishna, and like more, Om Namah Shivaya. I was really into the Bhakti scene, and Bhakti has been a big part of my awakening process, because that devotional element of God realization and like that to me was like the deep element of awakening, and so it's deeply ingrained in me. So I was wearing a lot of like shirts with Krishna and Rama. They were still the badass shirts, but they were a little bit different. I was wearing like Thai fisherman pants, a lot of white clothes. It's like the spiritual journey. With a lot of people, you think like, oh, I gotta wear this shit now to be like in this scene. You actually don't, but like you go through that process. As many of us who are probably listening who probably have all white on, or like it doesn't, doesn't make you more spiritual. If you feel like it, if it's helping, great, wear that shit. It's cool.
Exactly. If it makes you feel good, wear it. Right?
Exactly. There's no right or wrong. So totally. Yeah. I always had cool shirts, but it was like a little bit different style.
I love the shirts, man. I was watching some of your YouTube videos. I mean, I've obviously absorbed your content over the years, and I always did notice that though about your garb when you're at the gigs. It was nice, and you know what I mean. Like,
now dope, I actually have my own merch now, which is amazing. A couple years ago, I started my own. Yeah, I started my own merchandise, and they've been super popular. Mainly women's clothes, but like I have obviously some men's stuff. But it's kind of cool. Like, hey, I wear these things now, and you can buy it after the event. So it's kind of good.
Yeah. Is this a shameless plug for DJ Taz Rashid? Buy all his merch.
You can go to this website and no, just kidding. No.
Add to cart.
It'll be in the
cart.
Yeah, only live. Guys, only live. I've got some stuff online, but I like the whole live thing. I don't really push it online as much. It's just like. It's like the thing, like you're at the show, and if the support,
you're in the energy,
the vibe,
you're in the energy. I'm with you, man. I'm with you on that for sure. So I want to talk about how I found you, man. Like and Bryan, I want to hear your take on too, like how you got introduced to Taz. But I remember 2015. I was teaching vinyasa classes locally here in South Florida, and I came across like Native Spirit or that album with
Trichology.
With Trichology. Is that your most popular album? Just random question.
I think my most popular album right now is Awakening Truth, which is like an album I released after that for me, and it's like that's the most plays. And a lot of the other ones after that are picking up as well, like Live and Love and Yogi Passport, and the stuff I've done with Momentology are picking up. Those are more new, but they're doing really well as well. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Speaking of new tracks with Momentology, this is a track that Taz and I wrote together. It's called Bali Forests, and it's also off of our new album called Secret.
it's amazing to see the growth over time. Because when I was doing it, I was streaming. So when I was teaching classes, I was streaming SoundCloud playlists.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if you still do those or not. So I remember specifically the Kathryn Budig one that you did. That one that you did from Wanderlust.
Oh, yoga. That's Yoga
remember,
Journal, I think. But
was that Yoga Journal? Yeah, I think, okay, maybe you're. Yeah, no, you're
something like that.
Yeah, all about the bass. Yeah, there was Yoga Journal. You're right, because she's a Yoga Journal. So yeah, it was that. I remember like teaching classes, and like there's like a minute apart in the beginning. It's like you drop some remix with like Genuine,
Pony.
Brian the Pony with Pony. And I don't know, it always made me giggle. It was just awesome. I love that mix was good. The Back to the 90s one, the one with Eric Pascal, like all of those mixes were the one from Sedona Festival. I don't remember who taught that one with. Like, so I used to play those all the time.
Sarah Ivanhoe.
There you go. It is Sarah. And so I remember you playing these mixes all the time, or I played them all the time. And then I started to find you on Spotify once I got to Spotify, and I was like, oh, like there's actually all these other songs, you know, and it was just like, man, like this is like the music that I want to like teach my classes to. And I think a lot of the listeners out there can really relate to that these songs, maybe they haven't heard your name before, but maybe they'll go check out the show notes and the links, like, oh, I've heard these songs before. I just didn't know it was Taz, you know, you know, it's really that meditative journey, and the songs from the Chakra series that you did, that album that you released with the Chakras. I remember the song Peace, or Heart or Peace, one of the two. I play that in Shavasana often, and I've had students specifically come up to me like, what song is that? Like, I need that in my life.
That was my first album, actually.
Dude, so
I didn't even know how to produce properly at that time. I worked with a friend of mine. I mean, I created all the music, and my friend who understood like production here in Chicago, his name is Neil Baldiga, and we just teamed up. And he's like, "Hey, because I had a due date. I had to make this album for this actual product called Chakra Sorbet. It was like an ice cream product, believe it or not. And because it's my friend's product. That. It was like delicious. We actually toured around Florida. That's how I met like Val from Zen Cruise and all this kind of stuff.
Wow, those are all I know her.
I know. So this was like that whole like that Florida, South Florida area. So we toured that. And we had this product called the Chakra Sorbet, and he was like, "Why don't you make some music for it?" I'm like, "I've never made an album before. I guess I will." So like, it was just like put on. There's like pressure, and I created this thing, and you know, it's kind of cool. But that starts something. So sometimes when there's pressure, we start the journey, and it puts the fire to our flame, you know. And like, you just got to jump in there and do it, and then you figure shit out.
Exactly, 100%. I'm with you on that.
So cool. So I was just gonna address what you were saying, is that I have hundreds and hundreds of these mixes that I've done, and like I just don't release stuff on SoundCloud as much anymore because I'm working more on production. But dude, like those kinds of classes that you heard, that is like still my experience live. You know, like meaning like I play. My whole journey that I would like to create for the yoga experience is like I play my music, and then I play remixes that either I've created or have found from all the different decades, because I'm a big classic rock guy, 80s, 90s, you know, classic shit. So people's heads like explode because they're like, what is that? That is so unique. Like, what's going on here? Like, what version is that? And they can't help but that. And that's been like my genuine offering since day one with the whole yoga thing. And that's how I love to do it.
I love it, man. Bryan, how did you find Taz?
Well, when I first started teaching, I would just play, hip hop or whatever, a little Miley Cyrus or a little.
Miley, Ashley O.
Ashley O.
I'm just kidding.
That song's lit right now.
I know, right?
It's crazy.
That shit's gonna happen, by the way.
It's like 48 million something views. I was listening to it on my way to teach yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
But I was new yoga teacher, and then I'm trying to find playlists, and then just my own practice, like when I would go take classes and I don't know, like a hip hop song or just like a old school song would come on. Like it would just like bring up memories that I didn't really want to fucking think about when I'm taking a class. So I'm like, when I teach, I just want songs that are just more yoga-ish feel, more meditation. And I found Inspiration Drive. And I have that on my playlist nonstop, especially like beginning of classes when they're, coming out of, child's pose or just their first down dog, and that breathe comes in. It's just so fucking.
It actually works if you count with it, like the exhale and the inhale. It actually like you can sync it up. Yeah, if you if you count with the downbeat, try that next time. Like when you say breathe in, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, and it says, and you'll hear that breath come out with it, and it's uncanny and weird how that all worked out.
Whoa! I'm gonna do that.
If you're a fan of it, check it out and try it. Yeah, it's 90 BPM. It works for good flow.
Love that. Yeah. But yeah, and then I just went down the rabbit hole.
I just had a spiritual experience, bro. Yeah, man, down the hole,
and just like you, Momentology, DJ Drez are like a consistent addition to my playlist, especially Gold Flow. Gold Flow, almost 1 million.
I know.
Listens.
I know,
dude.
I saw that.
Is that the top song?
That is the top song right now.
Is that the top one?
It's a great song. But,
on Spotify?
It's amazing how, like, they always say, like, oh, you need, like, one song. And then, like you talk about, like, DJs and stuff. Like, you gotta have one song to, like, break through the thing. Like, for me right now, like, that and Native Spirit and probably Inspiration Drive are, like, those, like, top songs that, like, a lot of people know, and then they discover more music because they get into like playlists and stuff like that. But somehow Gold Flow is like everywhere.
That's like the hook.
Yeah, it's the hook.
Yeah, man.
It's cool.
That's the hook, man. That's the hook.
I'll probably do like a remix album just for that song. Yeah.
Yeah, with Gold Flow, when like tell me your like inspiration on that. Like, how did you make that? Like, I mean, that's your top listen song on Spotify. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I remember clearly. Like, I was. It was like this end of December or January, and I just wanted to create like a slow, because I love piano. That's like my main instrument, and I just love that old school piano sound, and I just wanted to create a feeling of like kind of like a heart opening kind of energy, yet like there's some sort of not necessarily melancholic, but like an emotional element in there. So it's like this like. Because when you hear those first chords, it literally feels like you could like look over a vast ocean. You're a drone traveling, and it's been used like that in many videos. And because I license music all the time for different media stuff, and so I've seen that being used for like you see like cliffs on your left, the ocean on your right, and you're just like cruising on a drone, and that music and it's a slow song. It's like 70 BPM. So like. It just that was the energy I was trying to create specifically for yoga. Like I made that track. I was like, I want to make a track for like a build sequence or like a land sequence later, where people can just like connect their breath to the beat and move to it. Because that's like my whole jam is breath to beat movement. That's what I've worked with Wanderlust people for years. Skylar Grant, and it's like whole classes designed just to move with the beat of the music. So we've studied like beats per minute and all that stuff. So I made that and it worked, like it was like kind of like an instant, one of those songs, and I still play it, and it's just like it's one of those tracks that like that works, and like when you have that, you just gotta roll with it.
heck yeah, for sure. And you were talking about beats per minute, and
BPM.
I noticed that you have a video or had a video on the Yoga Alliance about how to create a playlist.
Well, that's like, okay, so since 2015, I've been offering this workshop called My Best Playlist, specifically really geared towards yoga teachers. I got like super niched out on it. And I teach people what I do. I basically tell people all my like secrets around playlisting, around finding music, how to sequence for classes, what are the best like BPMs that I've studied. I give them ranges. And I've been teaching this since like for the last 4 years at festivals, things like Yoga Alliance. And I've actually have a really cool secret project I've been working on for the past few years, and I'll share about that here in a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. So it's like these are tools to help yoga teachers and people who are focused on their practice, yet using the music as a tool rather than just filler in the background. There's a difference. And you guys know this.
Total difference.
There's a difference with how you use the music, and it's so important. Do you want the music to elevate the experience or just be a kind of a background filler that sometimes can be a nuisance because Rihanna's singing way too loud and you're trying to get them to do something, and then it's just like, how can you use the music properly to really make the class flow. That's what I've been nerding out about for years, and I teach that to people all over. And I've created, different products and tools. That's what you probably found on Yoga Alliance.
Here's Taz and I with another new song called Eastern Sunset.
Yeah, it's tough when you're playing a Rihanna song and your class is about relaxing and it's work.
Yeah, exactly. Mixed energies. It's not good.
Yeah, nah. You got to find the balance. And I teach, so Taz, I teach a live music experience every Sunday at the Colony Hotel in Delray Beach here. Shameless plug. Come check me out.
I'll be there. I'm coming next week. Just got my ticket on Southwest. Okay,
So, but it's like, so the experience is co-created every single week. So, and it's based off not only energy that I'm bringing and the musicians that are bringing, but off of the energy in the room, So when we do the flow and everyone's, breathing to the movement, it's so important that the music I always catch it like a wave, right? So it's like a wave that kind of crashes and then just starts again, and you just keep it flowing, and you gotta keep it on the right direction. So it goes the same thing when you're making a playlist. So important for, I think, all of us as yoga teachers to really find that balance and allow the music to enhance your experience, as opposed to like hinder it or just like be too much. Just gotta really do it off of the energy that's in the space and be really mindful of what it is that you're putting out there. The vibrations and the frequencies of the music, for sure, 100%.
For sure, yeah, 100%.
Here's the deal, guys.
Especially when I'm setting up a flow, it's like if I have lyrics there, it's just tough because I'm competing against the lyrics on what I'm saying in cues. So,
but this is the real situation. The situation is that there's no education in teacher training programs about this stuff. Okay, this is what I've found. Nope. This is what I've taught my workshop to hundreds of teachers around the world. Like seriously, like hundreds and hundreds of people.
That's amazing.
And I always ask the question, in your 200-hour training, in your 500-hour training, your 5,000-hour, I just need another training with my guru for 11 days. Okay, so you use music as part of your practice. Great. How many of any of those hours was spent into proper playlisting, music creation? How to really properly utilize music. It's a big part of your practice, right? You guys would say it's a big part of your practice.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. Yeah. So how much of that time was spent in training? Usually 0 is the most common answer.
Negative.
Or they're told not to use music, which is the negative. Like, don't do it. Only, do not use music. It is not proper. That's like the classic thing. Is you just hear the breath or just, a tempura or a drone in the background. And so I wanted to change that entire situation for teachers, and I wanted to create programs to help with that education, to give them some tools. So most people are using music out there without really knowing what they're doing. They're kind of figuring it out. So some people may figure it out, but most people have bad habits or they really don't know, and the confidence level is low. I want to help empower teachers and increase their confidence so they're just like, this is my fucking playlist and this is how it's going to be. I'm going to play that shit loud and it's going to be good and you're going to love it, and their students will feel that confidence.
Right? Well, isn't like music's the one thing that lights up your whole brain?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Music, sex, all those things, yeah.
all the feels, man, with the music.
I
love, man. I think it's amazing that you're sharing this gift and this light that you have with the world and empowering teachers to build confidence, to have these experiences with their students is super amazing. And you're able to do it not only with teaching teachers, but when you co-create these experiences with teachers on the stage as a DJ, I haven't yet been to an experience where you were playing the music, and I'm looking forward to the day when that actually happens. But how did you get into that scene? Like, it started with making music and doing your thing, and how did you get into the Wanderlust scene, or obviously there was a little bit before that, I assume, but how did you get into that?
Honestly, every experience has been through the power of invitation. I was invited into these scenes. I've never reached out to any of these festivals. I never reached out to any of these teachers or studios being like, hey, can I play for you? It was all like, somehow they heard of me. They knew I was doing music for conscious scenes. And in Chicago, so the story is, in Chicago, I was invited to play at local studios. So one was a local studio here in Highland Park. and the teacher's Lourdes Paredes, and she's an amazing